What's up, guys? We are back for the Nickel and Dime Football Show. Got episode 3 in the house. We're doing the NFC East. Stay tuned. It's the Nickel and Dime Show. All right, let's get into it. Sean, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Week three. We are back, and I could not be more excited, man, because we got that big division coming up today.
Ooh, we got to get this one right, because I know there's a lot of people waiting on us out there to mess this up.
Yeah, I don't want my DMs on fire, so let's just make sure we get everything as right as we can. Let's just put it that way.
These are 4 teams that has a diehard fan base that will come at us. So we have done our research
for the neck.
We have been looking at these teams. A couple housekeeping notes real quick before we get into it. Hard Knocks trailer dropped today. You excited about Hard Knocks this year?
No, not really. No.
Right? Like, what are they going to show? Everyone getting tested?
Right. Yeah.
Around,
I mean, it's going to be.
6 feet apart?
Honestly, I think that's probably going to be most of the. Probably the first episode is them just figuring out or commenting on the changes, you know what I mean? Like what you're seeing and how people are holding up and all that stuff. So I don't know what they're going to give us. Well,
one thing they're not going to give us is Antonio Brown tweeting today that he is once again done with the NFL.
Again.
Once again.
I don't really have anything to say. I mean, he quits.
I love watching the guy play.
Throws a tantrum when he's on
the
field, electric, like he's dynamic. But just off the field, man, it's just such a stark contrast, man. You take off the helmet in that jersey, and then you just get real crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not normal.
It's not worth it at that point. You know
but great player. But I honestly don't think this is the last time we see Antonio Brown. He's coming back.
I'm sure he's gonna pop up on some random team like Seattle. Or
Raiders probably during their championship. Nah, he ain't going back to the Raiders.
As soon as it was coming out of my mouth, I was like, "Ooh, no."
Yeah. You thought about it. Yeah, but he'll probably be there for maybe a championship run if somebody wants to take that chance on him, and then you got to worry about coming back and maybe being on the exempt list for the commissioner and there,
kind of. Has he gotten all of his legal stuff taken care of? That's a big question.
Josh Gordon route, they call it down in there. In
He's
New York.
Another guy looking for a home. So.
Yeah, still, I don't know what, and he still has so much talent, man. But it's just you hear him come back, and then something happens, and then he comes back, balls, and then something happens. So I
just can't keep his head on straight, man.
No, I don't know. I hope the best for him, man. But great talent. So.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
So will you go ahead?
Great talent. Michael Bennett retired today as well.
Former Buccaneer great Michael Bennett calling it a career. Shout to Michael Bennett.
Didn't see that coming. Yeah. Making it about the Bucs.
Do you know, Drew? Did you know that when I was reading up on this today, that the Bucs let Michael Bennett walk over $500K? That was the reason why he left. Yeah. So the difference between him staying Seattle, exactly. So all those great years in Seattle and everywhere else, he could have just stayed in Tampa, but they let semantics come between them and let him go. But yeah, shout to Michael Bennett, great dude. I like that he stands up for what he believes in. Great locker room guy by all accounts. Yeah. Calling it a career, man, hanging up the cleats. So shout to Michael Bennett, man.
It was time, it was definitely time.
Yeah, it was.
He didn't outstay his welcome, but it definitely was time. Couple of quick notes, because I got a surprise for you. NFL Players Association has come to an agreement with NFL. No preseason, but there will only be 80 players on the minicamp roster instead of 90.
Okay, yeah, which I can definitely see. They're going to need more, obviously more than the 53 just to get through camp, whatever that looks like. But I mean, without
preseason, you're not really trimming the roster.
You're really not. So
anyway,
those guys are really going to have to show out in practice because those bottom of the roster guys, they really like to show out.
Rely on that
and on those games. So if you're in practice now, they're really going to have to show out early to stand out in front of the coaches. So opportunities are there. I mean, you still got to take advantage of them, though. You know what I mean?
course.
Yeah.
All right, so if everyone can zoom in on Sean's face, I have a little surprise for him. Rounding out the housekeeping notes, we had one last member of the Mad 99 Club.
Mm-hmm.
It was Mr. Michael Thomas.
Get the man. That crybaby, man.
Sean's favorite player, Michael Thomas of
this
New Orleans
dude.
Saints.
I mean, he must have he had the lobby for the 99. I mean, I've never seen anybody catch more 5-yard passes than this guy, and just run his mouth, cry if he doesn't get the call. He gets held. I'm still waiting on that flag that he pushed off from Vernon Hargraves back in the game last year.
He does get away with some push-offs. I mean,
this dude he's a crybaby, man. I can't stand that dude. I mean, he's productive, but I saw this. It was a meme the other day. It was something like that. But it basically said, who was the player that has low production, high recognition, and then even higher? It was a third category. That was
it Michael Thomas?
It was Michael Thomas to a T, because you know, he wants all the recognition, he wants all the Pro Bowls and all that stuff, and he produces. I cannot take that away from him, but he gets a lot of, it's scheme, it's a lot of different things. He's a good receiver, but by no means is it, in my opinion, is he a top 5 receiver.
Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this thing. The NFC East.
Let's do it.
Who's going to have the 8-8 record and make the playoffs this year? That's the
question. to be determined, but I definitely got some mediocre, teams coming at you, which we'll get into in a minute. But you know what I mean. But
let's jump into the defending NFC East champs, which isn't saying too much. The Philadelphia Eagles. You're a Philly guy.
I am born, and a third of my life spent in Philadelphia. So
and you're
definitely
not a fan, so that tells you something. Right?
I mean, you see, you know what that fan base is, man. You know what that fan base is. I got to see it young, super young. Batteries. How do you throw snowballs and batteries at Santa Claus?
Woo! In Philly, that's how you do it.
I mean, I guess so. But anyway, the Eagles. So they add Jalen Reagor out of TCU.
Great receiver.
He is a good receiver, and that's why I stumbled, because I was thinking of this is how does he not already go by Jalen Reagor Targaryen, right? It just rolls off the tongue. Shout to Game of Thrones. Horrible last season, but anyway. So Jalen Reagor from TCU out of round 1. Speedy guy, good all-around receiver. But they pick him over Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson was still on the board at the time. So, you thought that the Eagles were looking for more of a, somewhat more of a complete receiver, or somebody with a bit more of a pedigree that Justin Jefferson has.
Somebody that can actually catch the ball.
They need it.
Had trouble with that. They need
it, which is why they got rid of Aguilar, and he's now in Oakland. So, but you get him. The big pick though was Jalen Hurts.
In round 2. That was very interesting. I did not in a million years see him going to the Eagles.
I did not, but. And then Carson Wentz, had a pretty good season. Last year, for all intents and purposes, he really kind of did his thing. I mean, we'll get to it in a minute, but they won the last 4 games, and this dude was throwing to all different types of receivers. So he really stayed healthy for all 16 games, right? So
he did. He played.
It was very curious to me why they took Jalen Hurts. I can't really see them really utilizing him as much as I think right now. The way that they're talking, it's all smoke and mirrors, man. They're saying they're going to use him, but I don't know.
Well, I'm wondering if they're going to use him in a Taysom Hill kind of capacity.
Yeah,
because he's a great athlete.
Right.
Anything to get him on the field, I feel at this point. You know what I mean? He can do a lot of things for you. He's got some wheels on him. He's got a great arm. I think a very underrated.
He is
accuracy.
He is a quarterback. Let's not mix words here. Taysom Hill, garbage. I'm just gonna look you right in the camera and tell you he is garbage. He is not a quarterback. But
he's the future of the Saints.
He is a future life insurance salesman.
Jameis Winston.
No, actually, no. He is not doing anything because they just paid that man, didn't they?
They gave him
Yeah,
way
they
more
just
money
paid
than
that
he
man
should've
anyway.
gotten, for
But
sure.
yeah, so I was very curious about Jalen Hurts. He's definitely more of a QB than Taysom Hill, which is what I was getting at. But
I mean, they had 10 picks in the draft. Did they get quantity or quality here?
So if I look at, what they got in the draft, like I said, they got Jalen Hurts in the second round here. If I look, let me look up their whole draft class real quick. That is not what. There we go. All right, so let's go to the Eagles. I mean, they don't really have a lot to to jump.
There's not a bunch of recognizable names.
No, but I will say they did stack up on the O-line because they were having some big question marks there. You get Jack Driscoll in the 4th round out of Auburn. SEC guy, good player, but I honestly think they doubled up. And I was going to say, like, the pick for me was Prince Tega Wanago. I probably butchered his name.
Why do more NFL teams not do that? Why do they not keep teammates together?
Why do they not double up? I think there is something to be said for that. There's definitely something to be said for that.
If you've already got that chemistry, you're already putting in the work together. Why not? If they're all getting drafted together, why not keep them together?
Yeah, and sometimes, like, I mean, it's rare that it happens, right? It's rare that it happens, but he is definitely a guy who, even though he was a late round pick, people are really, really high on him. And we were talking about that.
You can go find that guy in those late rounds for those positions.
You know what I mean? You really can. And honestly, like, there are a lot of late round offensive linemen who winded up outplaying their draft slot, right? Like where they were picked, and those a lot of good guys come from late in the round, especially on the O line.
And they outlast the guys that got picked higher up.
Yeah, and you're right. But to answer your question, Drew, man, I definitely think they got quantity. Okay. I don't. That's
just
really
unheard of to me. 10 picks, like. What do you think about?
Well, they were moving around the draft a lot, the last couple of years, and then they had the picks to show for it. They finally used them, and we'll see how it turns out. Maybe they know something we don't. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, let's get into this offense. Got a new coordinator, so that's going to be big question mark starting right there.
Yep.
Can Miles Sanders be the guy in the backfield?
Miles Sanders is a dog. Like, let's get that man his due. Another one of those Penn State guys. Like, that dude is a player. I mean, he's not Saquon Barkley coming out of Penn State, but like he is a good running back. And I think
they took the touchdowns away from him last year. It's like he would get them to the goal line, and then they'd bring in Scott
between
or
the
Howard
20s guy.
Like,
yeah, but now, Howard he was a veteran guy, definitely a guy that can run and catch out of the backfield more so. So now with him not there, and also with Darren Sproles retiring, he is a guy who's going to get that work. Like, they're looking for him to make that next leap. I am too, because I'm very excited to see what he can do. He just seems like he honestly, man, like when you go back and you look at Philadelphia running backs, he is a Philadelphia running back. I mean, in the mold of a Deuce Staley, of a Brian Westbrook. I mean, like, not necessarily, he might not be as successful as those guys. He still has his career to play, but he is in the mold of those guys. Like, he's just a gritty guy, man. He's a gritty guy. He'll get it done.
He's 5'11", 210. So, I mean, pretty good size for a running back.
Yeah. So, and then they kept him home. Like I said, he's a Penn State guy. So, now what as far as the offense is concerned, Carson Wentz, obviously, we were talking about it, played all 16 games. As far as PFF is concerned, he was the 16th graded quarterback, right? But he did play a full season. I mean, it's right on the opposite side of where you want to be, but still middle of the pack. But he played a full season. Hallelujah. He did. Now,
and he got his insurance blanket back. They re-signed Jason Peters.
They did, but so we'll get into that in just a second. But like they did sign him back, which was good. But it's because they had an injury to Brandon Brooks, right? So he tore his Achilles, and so he was done for the year. And now they get Jason Peters back, but they're moving him to right guard. Why are they moving him to right guard? Because now they're committing fully to Andre Dillard, the left tackle, the young guy, and he had some up and down games, but they're really banking on him taking the next step. But I think what will happen is if he doesn't protect Carson Wentz, and obviously there's an injury history there, so that is going to be under a microscope. But they may swap back, like they may, put Jason Peters back at the left tackle spot if it doesn't go well. Gotcha.
Do they have someone who can play the right if he goes out?
So like I said, you move Jason Peters over back to left tackle. I think you probably move Andre Dillard over to the right guard, get him next to a stud in Jason Kelsey and a stud in Lane Johnson, two of the best of their position. So right now, I don't like Jason Peters. He's a 38-year-old guy. His play was declining in the last couple of years, but obviously knows the system, can come in and fit in right between that on that. So on that right side, they're looking very good now. There's a lot to like with this starting offense. Talking about the offensive line, they have to protect Carson Wentz, get him to play another 16 games. If the receivers can stay healthy, honestly, in my opinion.
They've got some good receivers.
They do. Well, on
paper.
Right, exactly. But that was the problem too. Is last year Jeffrey was out. Jeffrey played, I want to say, 9 games last year. Deshaun Jackson played 2 games. So now Deshaun Jackson, obviously, under a microscope with me, spent some time in Tampa.
He only played 3 games last year.
Oh, yeah, so he played 3 games.
Only had 159 yards.
Right, but he still averaged 17.7 yards per catch. So the down-the-field speed, the down-the-field threat is still there. If those guys stay healthy, in my opinion,
2 touchdowns in 3 games. That's crazy.
Yeah. And those, I want to say, they won their first 2 games, too. We'll look at the schedule here. But if the receivers can stay healthy, honestly, in my opinion, they are the ones who may take this team, as far as they go. Because Carson Wentz, obviously, he proved he can do it. He still got to the team to 9-7 with all those injuries last year and different things like that. So if the receivers can step up, you still have Miles Sanders there, right? So pretty much the only factor that you didn't have was the receivers.
Miles Sanders last year had more receiving yards than any wide receiver on the team.
Right, exactly. So they really leaned on him. But at the same time, he proved he can do it. You know what I mean? So Alshon Jeffrey, stay healthy. Deshaun Jackson, stay healthy. Hopefully you can get him. Now, I'll also say that their backups do need to step up. So the wide receivers.
They did get Marquise Goodwin from the 49ers.
Yes. So they go about 5 deep. They go about 5 deep. I need J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was a guy who a lot of people like coming out of college.
Only receiver to play all 16 games.
Yeah, and he underperformed though. I mean, if he played all 16 games, he definitely underperformed.
Still was in the middle of the road for yards.
Yep. So he needs to step it up. But you do have the 2 TEs, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz. Obviously
those strongholds of staples.
Yeah, and they love to throw to those tight ends, and those guys get open. So, moving on to the defense, man.
Darius Slay's in town.
Darius Slay's, you get the trade. So you got one lockdown corner. But I will say, in my opinion, is this where Darius Slay may not necessarily get exposed, but so if the rest of the secondary does not play up to his standards, does that make him look worse?
Right. Well, I was going to say, Jalen Mills is the only other name in that secondary that I recognize.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know some of the other guys, but I don't know any of them.
Well, Jalen Mills is not good. I
think that's why I know his name.
Right, yeah. So I know his name, but you know what I'm saying? And then I think at one point on Twitter or something like that, he was Mills Island. Choose a different handle, my guy.
Come on, bro.
So I don't know any of these linebackers. We obviously know Darius Slay. He's got clout.
Fletcher Cox is really the only other name I recognize.
So now I have to give credit where credit was due. So that's where I'm really going with this defense though, is their defensive line. I am not worried about. Their defensive line is a bunch of dogs up there, man. I'm telling you. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, a young guy, but that they got from the Steelers, and Derek Barnett out of Tennessee. Now, Derek Barnett, that dude he's serious. He is serious. Really came in shattered expectations because they thought he might be like a middle of the pack guy and came in.
Oh, he's a Tennessee guy.
Yeah. Did his thing. But you also have those starters, right? Those 4 starters, yep. They got you. Now it goes 6 deep because you also have Malik Jackson. You remember him from Jacksonville, from Denver, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then they also have Josh Sweat, a young guy out of Florida State in his 3rd year, came up with 4 sacks last year. He's a guy who, obviously he was in a rotation, but if they give him more time, I think he'll definitely produce. So the defensive line I'm not worried about, but if they have problems getting to the quarterback, then you could really start to see some problems, and that's where I think
those secondary issues.
Yes. So looking at the team as a whole, man, I really think like you'll have to outscore some teams if the pass rush can't get there, and that will keep them in games. But it could get ugly if they get down. You know what I mean?
I think it can get ugly early on because they went 9-7 in 2019. But I was looking at their 2020 schedule, and if you look at it with me, week 4 through 7 or week 4 through 6 is just
it's a murderer's row. It's a murderer's row, and to be honest with you, I think they can probably skate. At least they need to win against Washington. They need to win against Cincinnati.
I think they'll come into that 3-0, but I think they're going to leave that stretch 3-3.
Yes, and I mean, just playing it out, man. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. So last year with everything that happened, they wound up going 9-7. This year, if I look at this schedule, because of that, that up and down, that sort of mediocrity, I really see about 8-8. Now, it could go a couple of different ways. Like if they get aggressive and they start winning some games, obviously it could snowball. But I don't see much more than that. And if they revert back to that old defense, they could be 7-9 or even worse. So I think there's about a 2-game swing in between that 8-8 prediction for sure.
Because they got another tough stretch with Seattle, Green Bay, and Saints, 12, 13, 14.
Oh, yep.
So
That's what I'm saying. At the end of the season. I do like how the league plays these conference or division games at the end of the season and make it a little more interesting,
Right, yeah.
Yep.
But I got a feeling by January 3rd, Philadelphia versus Washington isn't going to be for too much.
Yeah. It'll be the 1 o'clock game. It won't be getting flexed at all, so... Yeah.
It'll be like you're watching Red Zone and they'll touch on it here and there. Like, this other game's happening.
It'd be an afterthought. So, who we got next in the NFC East, man?
We got them Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys? Old Cowpoke.
Dak Prescott playing on the tender. He signed it. He's doing it.
He did.
31 mil.
31 mil, which is
okay with that.
Yeah, it's a couple.
That's my consolation prize for not getting a long-term contract. 31 million.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like I'll take that and be mad about it. Which honestly, he probably is a little bit mad about it because he sees all these other quarterbacks getting paid. Right. You know what I mean? But
I think the only thing that hurts him is his ego right now.
Yeah. But if he comes in and he balls out, man, like then that's all that matters, though. You know what I mean? Like he comes in, he balls out.
If you're him, do you ball out and leave out of spite, or do you say, "Finally, give me my long-term contract"?
So getting back to what we was talking about earlier, like that's what, like I think last episode or a couple episodes ago, that's what we were saying. Like he got paid. I would be upset, and if he honestly, I think if he plays or outplays his contract at least through midway through the season, something like that, Dallas is going to be trying to run to the table. Jerry Jones is trying to run to the table to get that guy to sign. And honestly, I don't think at that point it will behoove him to sign until after he plays out the rest of the season. So they have now put themselves at opposite ends of the table, and there's really you kind of have to let it play out to see what exactly is going to happen.
If he plays great, you're going to have to bite the bullet and pay him.
Exactly, and then they won't have a choice. And then if you don't pay him,
somebody else
could get
will.
Dicey. Yeah, it's going to get dicey.
Especially someone in that same division might reach out. I see if things turn sour. If I was Washington, I would pull that trigger immediately.
Oh yeah,
like come on over. You get to play him twice.
And like this division out of all of the divisions love to stick it to each other. More so than any other that I've seen.
NFC West. Those are the two pettiest divisions.
Oh yeah, super petty, petty wop.
All right,
petty wop.
In the draft, they got CeeDee Lamb, who's going to rock the number 88. How do you feel about that?
They need Michael Irvin is just too generous, man. Like he's just giving his number away. Don't even know if these dudes gonna pan out.
About it. He seems super happy about it.
He's just, I mean, he's a happy guy. Like, I mean, what does he got to not be happy about, right? So like,
I mean, yeah,
but he yeah, right, exactly. So he gave up that number. Des Bryant didn't really live up to it. We'll see if CD Lamb can. So they take him at 17.
They love their Oklahoma players, don't they?
They do. They really do.
After those Oklahoma players.
Yeah. I mean, and it's right there, Red River rivalry, all that stuff. Yeah. So, but they honestly got value at every other pick. Gallimore in round 3, Neville Gallimore, that defensive tackle. That's going to be a guy who sticks. Because watched his tape, really liked him coming out. And they actually get him in round 3, and I think that was great value. Jerry did his thing, man. Jerry did his thing and maybe he just needs to pick from a yacht all the time. Like, just don't go to the draft
don't
anymore.
Don't even show up to the war room
just
anymore,
pick from
Jerry.
the yacht. Have a couple, Tom Collinses.
Yeah, just
pick. Make the picks, man, because you did your thing this draft.
They did get a quarterback in round 7. How do you feel about that?
So,
I know it's a throwaway at that point, but still, nonetheless.
Right. I mean, it's not gonna be. But they did sign him though. They did. They came to terms with him, so he'll be on the roster. Another couple of picks that I want to mention is they get Tyler. I don't want to butcher his last name, but Bayadaz from Wisconsin. He was the guy who was injured in 2018, but he's definitely a pick worth watching. Bradley and Nye out of Utah is also a guy that should outplay his draft position. So really nice. I do like what they did, what Dallas did in the draft, man. I do like what. Good. Just kind of a little tease. I hate the Cowboys. Kind of a little teaser, but there is a team who absolutely in this division knocked their draft out of the park, and it's obviously one of the next 2 teams coming up. So we'll get there.
Good, yeah. Well, I mean, with this offense, weapons.
Yeah.
You got Zeke, you got Cooper, you got Gallup, you got CD Lamb now.
Right.
I don't know who they got. Blake Jarwin.
Came
out of
up
Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he does taking over. God, what was the long-term tight end? I can't even think of his name now.
You talking about Jason Witten?
There we go, Witten.
Yeah.
So can Jarwin step in and catch the 2 passes a game that Witten was averaging? We'll
I hope he could do that at least. Like, you know what I mean? But no. So just like a couple of notes on Dallas. So they got 2,000-yard receivers, right? Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, both young. Year 3 for Gallup. So like you hope that he will continue to ascend, but like every time I swear I really didn't see. I know Amari Cooper balled, but I swear every time that I turned and actually saw Dallas on TV, it was Gallup was making the catches. Like he was doing all the dirty work. So I really like Michael Gallup. Amari Cooper, obviously, he just got paid too.
They did lose Cobb.
Cobb. Yes.
I'm sure they want Lamb to step into his 800 yards. But
so that's why I think
an 800-yard person you lost.
True, but I believe it's more addition by subtraction because now you have CD Lamb in there, who I definitely think will give you, even as a rookie, more than what Randall Cobb give. He can at least get 800 yards. I know that off top, right? Yeah. But along with that wide receiver trio, now you also have a Blake Jarwin. So he was a guy who was very underrated. Not only that, but you still have the top 3, top 2, top 3 running back in the league in Zeke Elliott, who's still 1,400 yards and 12 TDs all purpose, right? So that's production. I want that production.
And quite possibly might have one of the best backup running backs in the game too.
And Tony Pollard.
Yeah. Whenever he was given chances last year, he did.
He was
phenomenal. One fumble in 15 games.
I mean, that's what you want out of your running backs, though. Like, you don't want them to put the ball on the ground. And
Elliott only fumbled 3. Like, your star 1,300-yard running back he only lost 2 of them too.
Right.
So he regained one of them.
Exactly. So we would also be remiss if we did not mention this offensive line.
One of the best in the game for years.
Still, and it's just kind of crazy because they have lost Travis Frederick retired, right? So he was, one of the best centers in the game.
Was Zach Martin out last year?
I cannot remember, but I know Zach Martin's also a guy who's one of the best at his position. Lyle Collins, they stole him whenever he came out, since he had that issue with the investigation and the draft and all that stuff. But they absolutely,
he's been a great player.
Like, they stole him, so they have that continuity on the offensive line, and sky's the limit for this offense, Drew, man. I mean, if they can get it together now, how quickly do they get up to speed with the offensive coordinator, right? Like,
right. Without being around them all the time.
Yes. So that is it's the COVID. I
feel so terrible for new coordinators.
Yeah, it's basically the COVID bump, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know how it's going to affect different coordinators, different teams. A lot has to play out for us to really kind of see what the impact of that will be, having this altered off season.
Yep. Well, how do you feel about the offense is going to put up numbers, but can this defense stop other teams from putting up numbers?
So that is the question. Now, they're starting edges.
There's two tackles, man. There are two tackles. I just got to...
It's the Panthers cast off, man.
Yeah, like, good God, man. Like, when I was looking at this team's depth chart, those popped out immediately. I was like, you're starting the season with Poe and McCoy? Okay, cool.
And now, Gerald McCoy, I guess he had 5 sacks last year for y'all, right? Like, somewhere around there.
Together, both of them had 9.
Which, if you think about it, is not bad from your defensive tackles.
From
like,
both of them? Yeah,
right.
You're right.
It's not
They're not edge. They're not edge.
Right, they're not edges.
Rushers,
so if you get 9 sacks...
it just didn't seem like they were that productive coming from a guy who watched the Panthers games last year.
Exactly. But I would honestly say that their defensive tackles have more clout at this point than their edges do. I mean, their starting edges had 6 sacks between the two of them for 2019.
Ouch.
Right. So what are you going to do there?
Those are your edge guys, too.
Those are your edge guys. Now, I will say, what do you get from Aldon Smith now that he's back? I don't know if he can give you what he used to be when he was with the 49ers. He's had too much time off, but he is at least a name on paper. We'll see what he can bring.
How do you let Quinn walk, though? Like, that's got to hurt so much.
Yeah, I think they showed their hand.
Couldn't afford him.
Yeah, they showed their hand, and they didn't want to pay him, and he balled out, so he had to go. And then he got that big deal from, I want to say, Chicago.
Yeah, he's a Bear now.
Yep.
He's taking his 11.5 sacks with him, though.
Yeah, I mean, and that's production. Obviously, they didn't get that from the other side over there, so you know what I mean? So getting... I do say you have good depth at DT, at least with the 2 starters. Antoine Woods, Neville Gallimore, like I mentioned earlier. But moving to the next level of the defense, this linebacker tandem is one of the best in the league. It is one of the best in the league. And
Vander Esch came out of nowhere, right?
I'm sorry, but if your linebacker plays with a neck roll, shoot that man into the Hall of Fame right now. Put him in there, man.
He does look scary.
That is a football player. You hear me? But I'm also super excited for Jalen Smith, man, because I don't know if you remember that injury he had at Notre Dame. And then they wound up taking him, I want to say, in round 2. And second Jerry,
round.
Again, talking about playing poker, man. Like, Jerry, he took him not knowing what he was going to get, but he had a feeling, and his tape spoke for itself. If he could just get back from injury, and now that's coming to fruition. So shout to Jerry Jones on that one.
And they still got the veteran Sean Lee in the mix, too. So,
yeah.
Great linebacker core.
I mean, Sean Lee... He's got to stay on the field. And
all those linebackers, once they get to this stage in their career, man, that's the name of the game. They can't stay on the field, which I don't blame them. How many hits have they taken to this point?
True. I mean, but he's not a guy who's like, gonna. I mean, obviously the 2 young guys, Smith and Vander Esch, are gonna be out there. And then you have Sean Lee to kind of coming back up. So as a third linebacker, I take him. I definitely take him.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
If you got at least a locker room guy to teach these younger guys.
I
feel like he's shown Vander Esch the ropes pretty well.
Oh, for sure. He would have had to. The way that Vander Esch came in and just outplayed him, like which I don't think he counted. I don't think he was counting on that, but it happened.
Yeah, right.
Vander Esch is a good player.
Student has become the teacher.
Yeah, exactly. But I like their young back end. Chidobe Awuzie Good corner. Jordan Lewis is also a good corner. He's been with Dallas for a minute. Trevin Diggs. Now he's also a rookie, but out of
Alabama though.
Yes, yeah. So I don't know if you can still get what you lost in Byron Jones, one of the top corners in the league. That dude is a great player, and has been for a while. But you lose him, and now you are supplementing him with Trevin Diggs. You have Xavier Woods also, and then you bring in Clinton Dix, who I think is going to be a very underrated signing for them. But I honestly, man, their starters on paper, I kind of like their defense. And I don't like their edges. That's the problem. I like most of the other three levels, but that first level, the tackles, they can do it, but the edges they gotta show me something.
You think Randy Gregory gets into the mix at all?
No.
Okay. Well, they went 8-8 in 2019. I do think they improve on that.
Okay, so
I think
let's get into it. Let's see what we got.
Because their tougher games are a little more spaced out. They don't have those tough stretches.
That's true.
That's true. Philadelphia has.
That's true.
Like they play a tough team, and then they got an okay team right after that.
Yeah, I definitely think Dallas is going to be the class of this division. Like if you just look at all the rosters across the NFC East, I really think Dallas is more than likely going to come out on top. Just because they lost a little bit, but they haven't lost enough, and the other rosters definitely has some holes that they need to fill. I just, you know what I'm saying, I just can't.
The words can't come out of your mouth.
Well, apparently right now they can't. But I would probably say they're going to take the division. Looking at their schedule, I can honestly see them going maybe 11-5.
Yeah, I was going to say 10-6, 11-5.
Yeah, I can see them going 11-5.
That'll definitely win you the East, I feel like.
Yeah. They don't really have a particularly rough stretch of games. Like most of the hard teams, I don't know if it's just, I mean, don't come in my DMs, but I don't want to say it's favoritism, but like all of the hard teams on their schedule are spaced out every, like, you know, almost 2 games with cupcakes, hard team, 2 games with cupcakes, hard team, you know, so to speak. So it bodes well for them. I could see them, you know, being toward the top of the NFC conference. So
I agree. I concur. Let's move on to the New York Giants. Third in the division last year.
New York Football Giants. Let me just pull up my Giants notes here. Well, you know,
like Andrew Thomas. I wanted Andrew Thomas. I knew he wasn't going to last out of the top 5, but I wanted him. I turned on the draft hoping this just in, Panthers move up to the 3rd pick to get Andrew Thomas, but it didn't happen.
Right. So you was definitely looking for the offensive line, and honestly, out of the 4
that's all Panthers fans have ever wanted.
Good old lineman,
offensive lineman. That's all they've ever wanted.
Maybe you still have Cam Newton if that was the case. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe we should have a couple more IQ points if we had
you know. But Andrew Thomas, man, he was also a guy that I wanted, for the Bucks. And I thought that he might be available because they were talking about Jedrick Wills moving up. They were talking about Mekhi Becton. They were talking about Tristan Wirfs, you know, blowing up the combine and being those 3. So like a lot of the powers that be was like, oh, Andrew Thomas may be there for the Bucks, but he is the most complete offensive lineman out of the top 4. You know, playing in that Georgia system. And I watched a lot of Andrew Thomas tape. I love Andrew Thomas. He is going to come in, and he's more than likely probably going to be their left tackle to protect your franchise and Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes.
Yeah,
you think he'll be left or right? They're projecting he's going to be the right tackle.
He may start at right tackle, but
they still got Nate Solder over there on the left side.
But that's what I was getting at is like, I don't know. Nate Solder's play has been slipping these last couple years, and if they can, like, honestly, like if you can squeeze another, you know, solid to somewhat productive year out of Nate Solder, why not bring Thomas along and make the line that much stronger instead of potentially having to start a rookie at your left tackle, arguably the most important position on the field aside from quarterback. So you know that's why they're doing that. But we got to see what we get out of Nate Solder.
Future.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yes, definitely. Now they come back
him to play the left side.
Yes, yeah, they'll come back in. They came back in round 3 and grabbed another underrated offensive lineman in Matt Pert. You get the safety in McKinney in round 2.
Such a great player, man. I loved watching his tape. I enjoyed watching his. He's a damn good safety.
Yeah, and he is, and like and obviously, like we talked about this on the last couple of episodes, but like I'm just very big on pedigree and the conference that you play in and the level of competition.
Yeah, well, it gets you ready. You know what I mean? Like
it does. Iron sharpens iron, man. I mean, the old adage, but
because other than that, those quarterbacks you're sacking are going to make it to the league too. You know what I mean?
True.
Like,
True.
You're just facing each other in different uniforms.
Yeah. So I do like their top 3 picks. The rest of them. Just a bunch of guys. Now, prove me wrong. Basically prove me wrong.
It is so weird to look at the New York Giants depth chart and not see Eli Manning somewhere, though. Not gonna lie.
It is a little.
Colt McCoy is projected right now as their backup quarterback.
Yeah, and he'll be it. Now they also have Cooper Rush.
That's what I'm saying. They got a former Redskin and a former Cowboy as their second and third string quarterback.
Right.
That's got
talking about that petty.
Some kind of strategy here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Talking about that petty. But just a couple more like free agent notes. They did bring in some guys to try to supplement their horrible roster. So you draft Andrew Thomas, you sign Kyler Fackrell, edge guy from the Packers, right? Now you also talking about double dipping, Drew, nail on the head there. You also signed Blake Martinez from the Packers. Now this guy is a tackling machine.
I love Blake Martinez.
Yes, he is a tackling machine. Definitely toward the top of the league the last couple of years as far as tackles. So good linebacker. You don't get that kind of production not being a guy who's around the ball or that knows how to make plays. Maybe not be able to bring him home, but I do like Blake Martinez. Now, if you look at it, though, like, just another quick note about their draft class. Obviously, they felt like they were weak at the linebacker position because you drafted 4 of them. Like, 4 linebackers.
They got that new they do run the 3-4. They're just replacing all of their linebackers. They're like,
and I think that's what it was. And then, special teams, too, so you can't discount that.
I mean, how crazy, like, that, I don't remember how old I was when I finally got into the tiny little things, the intricacies of the football world, and noticed that most special teams are backup wide receivers and backup linebackers.
Yep. So that's pretty much all special teams is, man. So but
how do you feel about the secondary though? We don't know how DeAndre Baker's court case is going to go. We don't know if he's going to be on the field.
No, we don't. And I mean, if you're asking me, he was toast anyway. Like, like last year, he did not play well at all, being their rookie corner. And they
such a great college player, man. He just did not transition well.
And I mean, it's like when you have a rookie corner be, your 1A or your, your top corner.
That is tough, yeah.
It's going to be a tough road to hoe, man. So, like, he did struggle last year. He's penciled in as their starter. But that's also why you get James Bradberry, who you can speak to that all day.
So mad. That hurts. I love that guy, man. I don't know if he's like, he can be a number 1 if you need him to be, but he's better if you got another strong corner beside, like on the other side of him, obviously, like most corners are. But that one hurt me. Like, I knew he was going to command some more money. That the Panthers weren't going to pay him, and I knew he was gone. But it's one of those things that, like, as he's leaving, you're like, no.
Yeah, because you probably didn't think it was going to happen, though. Like, you figured they'd probably get it done.
He thought the Panthers were going to pay him. I think he was willing to take a little bit of a pay cut to stay in Carolina, but I don't know. I'd rather take a little bit of a pay cut and stay in Carolina than go to the Giants at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of in similar positions. I mean, it's one, 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other, but at this point between the two teams, but not when he was there for the first couple of years. But James Bradberry is a guy who, he played in a division with top receivers. Again, iron sharpens iron. He is a guy who will lock down a corner. He was good for, as much as I hate to say it, he was good for shutting Mike Evans down once a year. So in the 2 games that they played, you shut down the top 3 receiver. Yeah, I said it. I'm looking in the camera. You shut him down once a year. So you don't do that unless you have talent, man. So I really like him. Jabril Peppers
I love Peppers, man.
He had his best year last year.
Army knife player.
Yeah, he had his best year last year. Marcus Golden was a guy who they were thinking maybe about getting him done. Talk about the defensive line. He had 10 sacks. I want to say 10 sacks last year, but they bring him back on a 1-year deal. Dexter Lawrence is a good young player. Leonard Williams, he's got to step up. Yeah. I mean, that dude has to step up. I mean, in 2019, he played for 2 different teams, and he had half of a sack. Not even a full sack.
That's tough.
To the year. So, like, and he's supposed to be a dominant player. Show me what you want to do, man, because, like, clearly the game has passed you by. If you can't step it up and that's all you got, then you won't be a Giant come 2021. So,
a lot of question marks.
A lot of question marks.
But
man.
Then again, that's what you get for a team that finished 4-12 last
Yeah,
year.
and they did. Also huge shout. Speaking a little bit about the offense, like Will Hernandez is one of my favorite offensive linemen. He's definitely a guy. So shout out to him. Drew, what you think about Danny Dimes in year 2, man?
I'm not a fan. I don't think he has the makings. I think he's a Matt Schaub.
Okay.
Like a damn good backup,
right.
Not a great starter. You know what I mean? Like I know that. Shout out to my buddy Chris Mara. Check him out at Marathon on Instagram and Twitter. He's a big Giants fan. I was with him when they drafted Danny Dimes. He didn't feel good about it then, but he feels a little bit better about it now.
Yeah.
His read on the season was if Danny Dimes learns how to read his own defense, stops fumbling, and the rookies they drafted do what I think they can, they'll have a better year. That was his take on the Giants.
Okay.
Got to be better than 4-12, right? Like. Saquon Barkley, I think, gets you better than 4.
I mean, I hate to shout to you, Chris, but I don't know. I don't know, man.
I agree with you, man. I think it's going to be more of the same. Maybe if they get lucky, I see a 5-11 season.
Yeah, and that's if they get lucky. Me, I'm a bit of a realist, man. Honestly, like if I'm looking at their schedule, I really see like 2-14, 3-13. I mean.
The question here's a question to you, who's a big draft person. Say they get the number 1 pick next year. Do you go after Trevor Lawrence?
I think you almost have to. If you put yourself in that position, even if they take Danny Dimes, even though they have Danny Dimes, man, I think you have to take Trevor Lawrence unless there's an edge rusher there that just is worthy of the number 1 pick.
But look at Chase Young, like about as good of an edge rusher prospect as you can get, and they still went with.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it's just a quarterback-driven league. I think you almost have to take them. Yeah.
If you're New York, you're just like, look, let's just get picked 2 or 3.
Yep.
Let's not have to worry about that quarterback nonsense.
So
but
go ahead.
I've been on a team where you gotta reluctantly get behind your quarterback some years. So. Yeah.
Now, Drew, I did not mention this before we started here. But let me. I have to do this.
Okay. All right, what you got?
Now 2-14, 3-13. Now, that's what I see for the Giants. But y'all do play the Buccaneers, and oh boy, I have had this one penciled since last year when they beat the Bucs on a missed field goal, and we whooped y'all tail all game. It was all game. It was Danny Dimes' first game. How did I know that they was going to come back and win and Bucs was going to do Bucs? I just knew it, Drew. So, like, this game is going on. We are kicking their tail all like, we're not letting the rookie quarterback beat us. We're not letting it happen. And we're killing them in the first half. And then, like, the comeback starts to happen. And then at the end of the game, they go to kick a field goal, and like I already know what's going to happen. Like I basically, for good luck, I pick my daughter up, I walk out I walk out the door, and I come back in. Like I couldn't watch because I knew it was going to happen. So I come back in, and like I look at my girlfriend, and she's basically like wide-eyed looking at me like this. Nope. And you didn't deserve it. You didn't deserve it, and you know you didn't deserve it, and we coming for you. I got this one scheduled on It's happening. Y'all are getting that beat down. Like, so this is one that it is going to happen. I'm telling you, it's happening. Danny Doms is going on the ground. We got one for you, Danny Doms. We got one for you. I'm telling you.
Playing with some anger there. I like it.
Yes, I'm sorry, man.
Do you think the Bucks hold that same sentiment as you do? That's the question.
They better, because that one hurt, man. I remember it vividly. But anyway, that's had to let y'all off with that one. But Washington Redskins.
We got one team. Are the artists formerly known as the Redskins?
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Dang. We're going to get shut down, man.
They did. Well, I mean, kudos to them in the midst of all of this controversy and all of this, which I truly believe is going to end with Daniel Snyder being forced to sell the team.
I would not. And he needs to, man. He is a horrible owner. Right. That dude's a horrible owner.
There's two owners that need to go right now, and that's Snyder from Washington and James Dolan from the Knicks. Like, both those guys need to be out of their position.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yep.
The shit show that is Washington. What's their new mascot going to be? How are these legal troubles going to be resolved?
Right.
If you are the guy making the choice, what are you going with their mascot?
So, the easiest one for me, like, if you really want to do it the right way, I thought the easy, seamless transition was Washington Warriors. You pay homage to the people who own this land before it was taken, it was taken from them. You honor them. And you do it the right way. You pay homage before the games. You learn about the traditions. You incorporate that into the franchise, and you do it respectfully. Washington Warriors, you keep the same logo. You keep the same color scheme. Nobody's trying to take away from what they did as a franchise, but you have to be respectful about it. Yes,
Jesus,
you have to. You got to be respectful about it. So that was the seamless
transition.
I remember
being a kid. Right. I remember being a kid, and my family was Redskins fans.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember being 5 or 6, being like, this doesn't seem like it's okay.
Right, yeah.
I was like, if I'm a kid and figuring this out, why are we okay with it?
Excuse me, it is crisscross applesauce.
Oh, my bad. So sorry.
Nah, so, I'm with you, man. And then, getting there, before 95, a lot of people from this Carolina area were Redskins fans because those were the games that were shown in this market.
Right,
them in Atlanta.
That's the entire reason my grandfather was a Redskins fan.
Right, so a lot of fans in the Carolina area because of that. So there's
I know people that didn't go over to the Panther side. They're still Washington fans.
Right, exactly. So now,
how do you feel? How do you feel about this draft? Chase Young leading the way.
My God, Drew, we started, I really started looking into Washington, and I had to do the big eye emoji, you know what I'm saying? When I looked at their draft, holy hell, man!
I want to know where this draft was when Ron was in Carolina,
right? And it was weirdly enough, because obviously Bucks fan, have a history knowing about Ron Rivera and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Always respecting him, but I could not
Ron to death.
Right. I could not really see. I knew he was a good coach. Obviously, you don't get the team there if you're not a good coach. But I could not see how good his moves were until he was out of Carolina, because the bias blinds you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you had the rose color.
Right, yeah. So, but he had a great draft. I mean, big riverboat, man. Laying it on the table. Yeah. I love it, man.
And he didn't even have a second round pick, and he still
nope. And he didn't. No. And then so you get Chase Young. You basically. He falls in your lap. So that one was a given.
You had to pull that trigger.
Yes, you did. Now you come back in round 3 and get Antonio. Was it round 3 or round 4? I can't remember, but they get
round 3.
Yeah, so
they got
get
Gibson in 3 and Charles in 4.
Now, let's talk about it. So Antonio Gibson is a weapon. Running back and receiver out of Memphis. Did a lot of work for that team. Very underrated guy. And if you look back at my tweets, there are receipts. I have, he was definitely a guy.
6', 228.
Mm-hmm.
Great size.
You know who I like even better, man? So like I said, we're going to get into it. But Sadiq Charles, that dude, I wanted him for the Bucks, man. Watch his tape. That dude is a hoss on the offensive line. Yeah. He is a people mover, man.
6'4", 320.
Yeah, Woo. That dude is, and he is quick, man. He is very quick.
Can you imagine being that big and being fast?
Nah, it'd be I would just get out of the way, man. I'm 5'8",
250, and it'd take me a minute to get out of that stance that they're in,
Yeah, and they just that dude is, and what it was is Ron Rivera did his homework, and obviously, like, Ron Rivera is a guy who, like, you don't, Cam Newton aside, you don't get a lot of slack from him. You know what you're getting from him. You're not going to act up when you're around Ron Rivera. So, Sadiq Charles, a character guy.
I mean, like I said, I miss him.
Yeah.
He had to go.
Yeah.
We needed a change, but I will miss him.
He's a character guy, man. But a lot of upside. Washington, y'all really going to love what you see out of him now.
Yeah, you got a coach that you want to play for.
Your next
When's
pick.
the last time you had that in Washington?
Your next pick, Antonio Gandy Golden. If you have not watched his tape, he might be one of the best receivers to come out of this draft, and I'm not lying to you. That dude,
really?
Yes, that dude is a boss.
Well, I'm gonna do my homework.
He is just athletic as all get out.
Okay.
Yeah, athletic as all get out. He's a highly intelligent kid too.
6'4", 223.
Yeah, he is a highly intelligent kid.
Was it playing for Liberty? Is that why he dropped?
No, it wasn't that. Yes. It was playing for Liberty. Maybe didn't have some of the notoriety that these other kids did. But if you're a good scout, then you did your homework and you knew, and they were able to get this guy in the fourth round. And I mean, Washington is going to benefit because of it. So basically, your first 4 picks, I expect to hit. Nice. And if you can get 4 out of the draft. That's great draft class for great for GMs. Yeah,
anybody would be pumped to have
also coming back in rounds. I told y'all I like this draft, man. This was the team I was talking about, but you come back in round 7 and you get James Smith Williams out of NC State. Now he was a guy who his 2019 didn't go the way that he wanted it to, but he just flashed, because obviously if you look back at NC State, they had edge after edge after edge come out. So he's playing behind those guys, and he came out with 6 sacks in 2018. He was expected to take the next step, so much so that they gave him the number 1. Like, that's like their thing. They give the next guy the number 1. And they gave it to him, and he was injured and things like that. But quick guy, I definitely expect him to be on the roster. So I really, really like their draft class.
Nice. So they get the A+ from Sean on the
yes, sir,
on the draft piece.
Yes,
How do you feel about this offense? How do you feel if Dwayne Haskins is your QB1?
Is Haskins the guy? I mean, is he the guy? I don't.
Kyle Allen's in town.
yeah. And you saw, I mean, he was a guy that can definitely, I mean, he's a backup, but he can win you games. I mean, I think you saw that in Carolina.
Dude, I love Kyle Allen.
Yeah,
love Kyle Allen. I'm bummed. I'm excited about our backup, PJ Walker, but I mean, we'll get into that on the South day. But
do you think
Kyle Allen's a solid guy?
Do you think Haskins gets the legit shot to prove he is the guy? Do you really think he gets that shot?
I think he'll get a legit shot. I think Ron is that guy. He will give you a legit shot.
Okay.
But
which I can see.
He will not hesitate to start Kyle Allen.
No, because he knows the track record.
He brought in his guy.
Yeah,
he brought in his guy to be like, look, man, this is your shot. This is your team. But you got somebody on your heels.
Well, and then if they suck again, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, they're in the same boat. You know what I mean? Like, do they get Trevor Lawrence with that if they got the number 1 pick?
Yeah, and that's the thing is you really gonna have to keep an eye on all the shitty teams, because it's gonna be the Trevor Lawrence
sweepstakes.
Yes, the sweepstakes. exactly. So
they do have one of my absolute favorite running backs that I feel like we got robbed of seeing last year.
Right.
With Geis. I think he is
Geis is nice, baby.
Yeah, I've named my fantasy team after him.
Yeah, that dude is...
I was bummed he didn't stay on the field.
I was bummed, too, because I really, and he slipped because of character concerns in the draft, and, it was basically like, all right, well, somebody about to get a steal.
Well, I'm saying you kind of want to chip on your shoulder with your running back.
Yeah, exactly.
I want my running back to be kind of a dick,
So, and I do, there's pieces on this offense that I really like. Their running back stable is very deep.
Dude,
so, Geis,
Adrian
Peterson
still playing like he's 20 years old.
Yep, Gibson. Now
McKissick's got some experience.
Oh yeah. So, but now you got Scary Terry at receiver.
I love Terry.
I love Terry McLaurin.
That's the main reason I want Dwayne Haskins to work out, because I feel like that Haskins-McLaurin connection is there.
Oh yeah.
It's just, can Haskins hold up his end of the bargain? You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Terry's gonna be.
He's got to get on the ball, and he's still productive even with the changes at quarterback. So that's how you can tell a good receiver. Hopefully it works out for Scary Terry, man. I love that dude.
You got Steven Sims from his coming into his second year.
Yeah, so he's definitely a guy that's going to get more opportunities. And then you got the other rookie, Gandy Golden, who
you also got Cody Latimer hanging out in the in
now
the
Cody,
shadows.
I want to say he just got into some trouble a little bit, so we have to see how that plays out.
Oh no.
Yeah, but the top three I do like, but Scary Terry might have to hold the load until you really see what you have from those young guys and see if Sims Jr. can make that jump. They really don't have anything I like at tight end, and their offensive line now, talking about Haskins, I don't know what they're going to do with this offensive line, man, because it doesn't look like they're in position. I mean, aside from Brandon Scherf,
I was going to say, that's the only name I really recognize.
Yeah, I don't know who the rest of these guys are, man. So can they protect them? It's
always a bad sign when the same names are the backups as well, just in different positions.
Yep.
So that's a little scary on
Lot
that part.
to play out on that offensive line. So, I don't know what they give you, but moving along to the defense.
It's the Ryan Kerrigan show.
It is. Yo, I'll be honest, like, people who aren't Washington fans, like, okay, take a ride with me here. I want you to look at Ryan Kerrigan's numbers. Now, if you could do it in a way to take the name off of it, I would have you do that. But look at Ryan Kerrigan's numbers, his games played, and I mean, tell me that dude should not get Hall of Fame consideration. Now, I know what I just said.
I think he'll be in it. I think he'll be in the Hall of Fame.
Right. I know what I just said, but I implore you, look at his numbers and tell me and stack him up against other defensive ends that are Hall of Fames, and he's got a case. He does have a case.
There.
So,
and you got him, and you got Young on the other side. You got my man Thomas Davis.
Brought him back. Thomas. I thought he was. So was he not retired? Is he retired? What was happening with that?
No, he played for the Chargers last year.
He did. I thought he was retired after
like,
that.
You're
but
done.
Yeah, is that what happened?
I think he still wants to play. He's got bionic knees. Might as well get his money's worth out of him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. So, but that first four, man, that front four, and then Thomas Davis behind him, that is a force. That's gonna be a force to be reckoned with, especially like if Davis can rekindle that fountain of youth.
Right.
But I love.
And if he can't, shout out to my boy Cole Holcomb, UNC guy. He's waiting in the wings for a linebacker spot too.
All right.
He had a solid rookie year last year.
Now I do like I like their secondary. So you bring in Kendall Fuller from the Chiefs, Super Bowl champ. Fabian Moreau out of UCLA is a guy that I like. I liked him when he was coming out. You get Sean Davis from the Steelers, and then you have the stalwart Landon Collins back there. And Jimmy Moreland's a guy too. He's definitely a guy who a couple years back was a name coming out in the draft, even though he was I want to say a 7th round guy, but definitely a guy who people knew. Interestingly enough, Drew, they also have the rights to Reuben Foster. Yep.
Will he be on the field?
Will he be on the field is the question. So I don't know. Right now they have him penciled in as a starter, but like from what I understand, he had a knee injury, and then there might be some nerve damage in there. So that's why I don't think they're counting on him. And more.
That's good. Make way for Holcomb. More games and reps for Holcomb.
Well, and that's also the part of the reason why I think they brought in Thomas Davis. You know what I mean? So it's
because he can play either side.
Exactly.
He can play weak side and play strong side.
Oh, also, I want to say undrafted free agent. They also have Randy Moss's kid, Thad Moss from LSU as well on the roster. Yeah. And
they also got Logan Thomas, the Virginia Tech quarterback turned tight end.
Yeah. So
they got a lot of interesting question marks that Ron gets to work with.
They do.
3-13 last year. Do they do better in Ron's first year?
Let's look at it, man.
Let's take it to the schedule.
I really, honestly, I do. And you get that Ron Rivera coaching bump because, like, if you look at what he's done in his track record, it's right around the 7-9s and 8-8s. And I think this team, with their new additions, will be drastically improved. So, now drastically is relative, right? So, you know,
I mean, I think they would be happy with a 5-11 season.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think, and honestly, I think they'll be better than that. I do think they'll be better than that. I'm looking at their schedule. Ooh. I think that I can see them going 7-9, man. I'm just going to say it. Okay. I can see them going 7-9. But it really depends on what you get from Dwayne Haskins. It does. And I hate to beat a dead horse, but that's what it is. or what'd you say?
Or Kyle Allen.
Standing for your homie.
Dark horse Alex Smith. He's still on the roster.
That leg is looking like a wishbone on somebody's plate, man. They ain't doing that.
I mean, you don't go from almost dying to getting back on the field.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? They might as well wrap that up. I feel so bad for that dude. He was having a good season. It was really going to take them places, but you know, alas, it's the game. So, but
tis the game we play.
It is.
They play.
I think
act like I play it.
That's what we all do. That's why we're here.
I like to pretend. Yeah.
But 7-9 prediction. I think they could steal 1 or 2 games, but they could also lose those same games if Haskins doesn't play. So, but that's what Ron Rivera is: 7-9, 8-8, man. That's what he is.
Well, unless he's not. Give me your rundown of the East. What do you got standing wise?
So I am going to go Dallas Cowboys. I am going to go Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Redskins, and to bring up the back, I'm gonna go Giants. Dallas, definitely the class of the division. Eagles, I can see going 8-8, and then third place Washington. Now they could flip flop, you know what I'm saying? One gets hot, one, you know, some things happen, but I think that's how it'll shake out, man. To be honest with you.
Okay, I think I'm gonna agree with you on that. I think the Giants and I'm gonna go Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Redskins.
Okay. All right.
Just to be different.
Right, I got you. I got you.
Just to why not?
Right. Know? So, but definitely, hopefully, like, just a quick shout out here. Hopefully, y'all love the new intro that we got. Got the outro coming up. Gotta shout my man out who came through in the clutch. D-Mac. We will be placing his stuff right below. So make sure to go
check him out.
Check him out. Twitter, beats. IG, all that stuff, man. Beats, Flame. Get it done, man. D-Mac, we love you, boy.
He hooked us up, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
So good, man. What do we got next week? We got the old AFC East.
Got the AFC East. You get to talk about your mans. Yeah. Talk about your man Cam.
Yeah. Oh, I'm pumped, man. I wish him nothing but the best. But we'll get into that next week, man.
Which, I mean, we will. And I guess we got to get out of here, man. But I'm looking forward to, man. AFC
I want to keep talking. No, I want to just keep talking about the whole but that just makes you want to tune in next week, right?
Exactly. We love y'all, man. Drew, what you got for him, man?
Oh, man, follow me on Instagram at LaughWithHarrison. Check out DrewHarrisonComedy.com, where you can see all of these episodes and a lot more original content. Sudsy, what you got?
At the Kid Suz on Twitter, man, and do not forget to follow us on IG at nickel_dime football. We're
on there every day.
Every day, like putting in that work, man. So follow us.
Wake up in the morning and start looking at NFL stuff.
Exactly. So follow us there. Make sure to check out Drew's stuff. Hit me up on Twitter. Always down to talk. And Nickel and Dom.
Yeah, give us some feedback, season, man. Baby. We want to talk to the fans.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good week.